A very good morning. This is the official launch of the USAID funded program Strengthening Cultural Resilience of Tibetan Communities. We welcome and thank the Honorable Sikyong for attending this event. We thank USAID Representative Dr. Poonam Smith Sreen and the Secretary of Department of Religion and Culture and her colleagues and the team. Also a big thank you to Wadwani AI for joining us here, along with Kyishong, who represents Melam AI, a big stakeholder of this project. This official launch, this program, Strengthening Cultural Resilience of the Tibetan Communities, has been in the ideation stage or in the discussions and brainstorming stage for quite a few months. A lot of assessments have taken place. A lot of stakeholders has been consulted on and have been very recently awarded for a period of 3 years now, a sum of 4.5 million in total. The Central Tibetan Administration is receiving a direct fund from USAID for a funding of 1.5 million for the 3-year period. This program's objective is preservation of the Tibetan culture in the form of manuscripts, artifacts, intangibles as well. Intangibles like pictures, images, audio and video, and going just not sitting with preservation, but then going beyond that in terms of promotion and using latest technology such as artificial intelligence. That's where Wadwani AI and Melam AI comes in, and to see and explore greater avenues and scope and opportunities to really promote the preservation, the culture of Tibet and the identity of Tibet. So without much further ado, I would like to request the Additional Secretary of the Department of Religion and Culture to provide a welcome remark.
Tomadila Chinokonsa Gangchen Bochola, Jamando Tangtone, Tatri, and the Zenju Pimi Chizo Nala Rishun, Sojugi. Leshi Uzugi Nana Chedongani Peve Gundunzo Pande Sikyong Dana Churi Kalin Jigjogon Penpa Chodan Dana Churi Tunji Gungo Chimitiana Cho Dini Ari Tekarongi Laja Todamba Gemba Umramba Poonam Smith Sreen Chodan Dana Shi Wadwani Nanzota Lagati Wadwani da Nyamdi Danashi, Wadwani Rugare Danashi, Melam de Tadi Shimjokangi, Genzin Serbia, Saguba Nomada, the Soshuba Samala, Tomadilla Shirileon Gimani, some detached Shui. The Lishi Chimbo Digi Walla than the Peggy Rishu, Chizonang, Peggy Chizonangi Rishu, Sojugi Walla, Mountbang and Zoharius Natat, Peggy Tanzim Benzegi, Lishidi, the Washu Subtatinage Tiongori. Digi Leshidi Zavegi Chaneda, Churi Leongi Lega, Uzu Shuani Chini, Miu Mangoyorde, Miu Mambogi Nani, Sochishodi, Pegi Rishu, Gunzinda, Minyam, Combetan dire. Dindegi Miu Dian, Nimatavarishi Raja Maimba, Tudan Tumbegi Gon Chigozanta, Tandi Tadin Tuzula, Transit Benzoyan, Ketchumbo Chayza, and Dindegi Tonan and Zo Leshitanda, Saudi, Yondandi, or the Dessins. And the Leshi de Tsering in wrong given that Leshi goes over there. The Leshi de Manzu Chiguagi, Miu de Caresina, the Tadechala, Zenju Pemigi, Chizonala, Chedekayori, Pegi Benzokan, Sopi Benzokan, Pemangwari. That number Koranzo, Soso, Todangweni, Kang, Chitugi, Tony, can you think you lost so big Pejaning by Nari, Tianashin Kuzeng, Rituzo, Yazanangi, Nanganzogi. Pimizugi, Tumongi Tony Tindejida, Yaza Shue Chedan, and the Leshi de Jipiari. That thing on the Yaza, Sungop Chewa Zamaimba, the Yaza Chedian, Shebe, Zo, Yuvegi Tony, Liacheri, Tatanda Kyishong by Nadana, Ying Zingi Tony, Sungop Chedanjida, Tananzi, Nagata Des Kapachari Sangudra. And there's a Zocha de Yaza Jeding and the Shebe Lamni Cherry, Skench Light, the Inji Tony. Then she shibib cheni Yade Mare. The Wanung Tisum Mengala Sobi Shugari in a Tangazogi Chilola Tangi Mari, Tianashi, Pegi Benzokan Sobi Benzokan, Chidekagi Nani, Yang, Parwan Shugue, not Zo, Jejimi Mangi Situ Madro, Nikogo Jena, Cheda, dewa shuni dinde nangnaman도 미망지기 달로치에도 용말이 대민 참을라 당한지 냐자 저 장민반이 겨지 미망다 도인전 수요에 있는 가지 식도백이 제동한지 레시디 비오리 숨바디도 베미기 지zo 야가 가사가라 카토디아르디 카토겐 된저 당진 변조기 귤람기 토니 표저 거제 제외기 토니 양 안조가리 지zo 지기 나라조양 루블 차트에다 망바데와 야도드라다 계제자 어딘데기 차니 대한항신다 미우 시와디 가레스나 가샤갑 주두베기 우주시외기 제라 니도니 쇼자니기 진다 시와니 지니 유레군카기 중디 이제 상물로다 로리자기 돈은 규린자 미유 대당 팀베기 돈은 아주 당신 변조 쉬어야죠 어딘데 차유에 세슈에이 당아주 미유 된저로지 되니 갑도들라 쉬어라 리시간에지 바이나야 롭템발라데 개침보 차이와 인자 안지 추기 정보 시당 대한항시 전화에 변 된저 사마기 우리 라진 굴랑한 저기 롭템바낭로치세 겸죽슈이 남바저고 원이네 셰셰 파젠다 간저 나온지 슈로간이스나 믹스에 된데 차이든게 좀아서 아니 되네 돼서 롭템 나에게 간저 저와게 시슈이 니 토마딜라다 레구기출라 안간저기 레시 첨보디 데르다 데르르브로와 안간저 레시 뼈나신 진이 전주 배미기 최대가다 변조가 전속이 간절라 튕규만나 있나 안저기 레시디 줍다면 자니 남바적이 튕규대 개천부 차오래 아니 레시디 돌아는 안저 겹겨다 튕규나로 나시슈 tu지나
We'll now request the Honorable Sikyong and Dr. Poonam to kindly open the curtains to launch the project. Yes.
This little primitive.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sikyong and Dr. Poonam. With this, we officially launched the project ceremoniously. I request the Honorable Sikyong to kindly give a few words, share a few words and thoughts.
Maybe I'll start speaking in Tibetan first because the main target audience is the Tibetan audience. And later, maybe I'll cover a little bit in English. Tantarinde Churigun Tang Ani Wadwani AI Chumek Rigzi Sundrig Tone Ani Lishi Savachik Unje Nangayore and di Unji Manang Konlia Taranshoge Churi Tunji Tang Leji Ani Poonam Tang Wadwani Gileji Gishimelamla Kunsamlo Dharamshala Jagashuya Tang and Leshidilea and Lamno Yoya Dharamshala Tuji Jamu Nyasan Shuya Kokop Dushin Chung Yore and Leshidi Gachambuchi Tang Kechumbuchilia Unjichu Taranshoge Benjule Gung Kabgon Pime Nudop Sembeki Sondu Nima Sumjik Gozure Dele Tamshichawi Taringi Nimudi Nidoni Sangagi Chinda Chukjik Sesumdi Azulu Yunalolia Lujug Tenshenal Hagwek Nedanchi Chayag Rewa Shuguyus Karisana Chigne Tarashuge Pime Nudop Dandre Tone Sondudri and Dilia Leshin Zudan Mahombe to Ludan to Sendenji Sotu Dochi Maina and Chizo Kariji Maine Yajet Seden Yonla and a Pomugi Todan Janyam Tone Tachik Ye Sanglo Jinum Chigitone Jatuetan Yarjeto Tuyagi Ranshinjik Chagiyore and Tandegi Lerim Dirochi Maina Toma 다딜이야 제시닝도 지마 슈베니야 지조 나올 레시디 용당 칸데 용이메다 티 응um볼 칸데 요메다 레시 옹 칸데 이메디 마체메이네야 티 지조 나올레야 대상 담내 나초지 용되게 여봐 단다 레시디기 무 조던디 아리시슈 USAID네 용우여레 디 로숨키 레시 로레레나리아 아리톨라 사이니니 체네레 엔 레시디기 차시 니여레 차시 찍디 추리리공기 난고야 차시 찍다 추리리공 난고야 시도 추리리공기 캬공수 도바스네레 추리리공기 아니 대화치 유기다 베자닝백 다와용에 당 더 제닝백이 다와용에 대주념도 레가치야다 하버도 베자닝만주 상원로 당기 총박의 세신나와나 신체니 셀베나라 법체 아니 정식이 오토라 냐투어 점도 메인백이 슈마 배주디 천den식 디 표버점도 메인백 계지 큐네야 아니 다 표백이 최다 기 릭숑 디게 차산식 공어제 제투야 하버도 지롱 호스장고 주무초기 공바 디게디 시샤베 토네 아니 당간조 마음바 공박한데 시대와이네 땡두기 추리기 야직 체단 툼버지다 마음베기 로추정하니 슈기 믹세 심베 토네 조카르도스버레 안 조디 드로 단냠도 간주 제심버지 칸데스냐 고고도 전주 톨레야다 레가치단드레 디인도 삼바 레시딜레야 로직을 사이니니 여바 나로네 사이 찍대 체가디 아니 와드와니 타다 AI 콘조 민가 투미디 페샤바 디 콘졸리아 아리 시슝 쿠란소기 롱위제베 갑라 아니 롱위 그냥 다가스도 스테바 점도 마인베기 미위당 고바다 김제 상마 세라체니 아니 USAID 랭크 태거 독신나 샤바치 차기열 디페미티즈 티주요 말이 로리리리야 사야 차가 아리로 붐강아 chen 로숨링알이야 사야 치디 차가디 아니 추리리공고 원에 당경의 쇼네 신친이 벤조강 용조당 다 베진인과 요새 당와 요새기 디다 냠도 다 이게 간데포랑 다 대가 저유백이다 익셔닝모 멤버이네 익셔 케네체와 상어마 인백이 익셔 케네체와 되게 최선식 다 댕체직간이야 뽕투야다 아니 마음바디 고조치야 저게 차대된 바 치용 투야라 미게요레 다 딩에 다리 루주된 바치 차그레시니 슈고에 좀 신직디 다린 건다 아니 기시멜럼라기 다네야 아리 탑산에 다나 아리 시슝네 롱우 제베 균에 아니 레시직 동 운전한 거요레 디 레시디 개chu부 슈차되게 요레 디 레시디 로데베 갑단 다들 레시 사바디 레야기 투주디 야고치 개체 마음바 레시니디 추 투몽고 토네 아니 풀이야다 지 겨울음치기 공부도 치매이네 디게디 파 컴퓨터 주닉 파 컨디지 슈웨이나 아니 군둥기 내던 디던 제베기 아니 마 람데 컬업 라인소 직된디 마동 받으치 네트웨어 다 조디 산제기 템바 네트웨어다 양구수 우리 여름치 우비기 된달라제나 맞추기 추조기 제바제셔와 대주창가디 다 마음바 리뉴기 뎀백 다 배주 천den치 용투엘라 진리지 미기요레 다디 야침부 쇼지레 다디 야침부 삼땅 투에기 누바디 배나가지고 진용을 내가 책에 서로 치매이나 페미디즈 나날 디 삼땅 투에다 레 삼로땅 투에이네 내가 무슨만 juk 투에디 가보시고 차되게 요레 디메 손상 아니 트릭더 저여바디 다 컴퍼니 샤바질 제체제디 다다 콜줄레고네 마 세라 땅시 엔타다 와드와니라 톱대원들이 다 와드와니기 다들 내가 치에디 그징아주 추리레고 땅진공원에 다 총도 초치 마 반디 연주 삼발라 아니 기시멜럼라게 티나로래야 와드와니기 롱위테네 아니 기시멜럼라 내가 샤시직 매네 메탑스로치 디 로봇 매바이나 아니 레시디 콩큐브치니 로트에 가고치 연구요가 디 톤이 아니 와도니 크란스여기 단에 계시면람라 콘주기 차셰드네 아니 라샤요레 두친단 염루기라가디 숙심부지다 누버때마치 용야래야 간주저 침부지 갭디고요 디인도 단에 벤주기 레시디 톨이야 더 맞아 겐질해서 레시디니 니가 지그랑 뭐 돈에 지구고요래 지게 자시면다 니레마도 초 도면도 삼반 레시 지기 좀제 지기 돼야지 자가 유디 삼발라 안 텐솔 지람 된 소중이 마이네 기시면나게 단다 된다 라젠나마 솔저가 쉬야다 아니 네 케게 랜저 쉬야도 나 쉬고요래 추리리 공원에 된다 라젠나마 솔이야 디기 로든 그 초중난로를 쉬야기 냐상 전샤요래 이네 디게디 땅 오치그랑 이두 삼발이야 가시기 딜리시카가 니면도스 고마시거든요 말에 지당 그 리시 찍라 아니 랭게 요니 체체 진이 좀제도 초도면 찍라 차도 레시니 디슈에드레 아니 아리기 돌아사니디 다니 진짜 중이 나눠라 아리기 슝 문직 나눠 가지고 토와레 아니 탈로 달라드르치에 그 참라고도 들으시 렙니 인추리리군에 레지 시직 다다때 선주체체 레시디가냐 잘해난고래 다 추리리 운근원에 난고야디 아니 벽에 와도아니다 기시면음라 콘조냠들 저와 지기지기 체체 당한조 실베브나나 법 고야기 익자 가져요메 디직치하다 야디코 실베브나냐 균댕긴 아주 익자법 지고는 신직 지금에도 그 익자디 야고 쇼시 야고 요바이나 안 단답하게 보스턴의 요대백이 Digital Buddhist Resource Center 라니 BDRC, the Buddhist Digital Resource Center, BDRC 콘주게 단대 셔베블 빠셔 망무여래. 아니 셔베블 버두 섬발이야. 밥에 림버더부터네 카가 요대봐. 야 야당게 먼저 야고 요 같은데 기타 네세 덴베기 벤주기 럼루 세네리 익자냐야기 럼루 진데 체다 때문에 냠루체니 아니 내가디 죽경해야 나가지고 독신이 저슈되게 야래 팀인데 기시면음나 주네이네 저도 추리리공이네 이 송대기 주네 된달라진 한번 소이기 람드당 아니 튕규 원에 아니 추규 리스마체바 상황 소수수기 겐셰 괴다 주제기기 마이네 가르다 가르데와 차가요 마이네 대조직디 차산식 관사린 punktu가 저치메이나 아니 직된디 마동 파도직 간다 표주 난된 조체백의 표백기다 되게 차산로지 아주 냐자 제투와 점도 마인백이 아니 그저 천된치 용야리야 로유기 가져 사바치 다른 아주 체르고 요래 삼백이 저와들이직 슈디고 대인도 삼아 상원로기 녀로 나로나시니 슈에지다 다른기 드든디다 뚠체 Professor Gene Smith Sreen 주어래 코란코데 전소지 슈나 삼수 그래서 폐지 아주 표준한 den기 배자 추 추지 제셔봐 더 편치슈직 Professor Gene Smith 콜레지언체 중샤버리 Professor Gene Smith 코란 지동구제 투스탄벨로리아 아니 시애틀랑 아주 단다 편조부랑기 더지 rumche다 공콜 렌제체 아니 담구쇼기 샹라 아니 대중 rum체 슝에기 컴 네임베기 라마직 사제 라마직 네마 시애틀라파 주나체 rum체기 샤월이야 안 진스미트 지게 로마 셴마드만라베 페베기레 로존체 난쇼레 토나제제 도시에니 인젤이야 쿠란탄다 American Library of Congress라 아메리게 최소 그 벤조다 치슈도 지레 점리 나노네 벤조 치슈 난 레가치 인지동 국제 주주레나 나리아 자가도와 수용치 아니 리수마치베기 다 빼자 망부 슈지 주 루루치야다 아니 빠르잡니 야자치야 도시에체 레시 개침부 슈지 다 오늘 안 시소 나올이야 다 팬도 치슈기 내가지 코랑 제투 종요래 배바 말할 때 이네 딜리체토 중요 디기 주네 코란레 직다 단다 대정치니 로가시 침을 이 코란 거딘디 가지고 30첩에 톤에 치수 코란 아니 내가 참샵에 제리아 또 보스턴라 아니 당부대 TBRCs Tibetan Buddhist Resource Centers 직 고추를 단 고추에디 뉴욕네 고추 언테네 파지를 보스턴을 빼니 다 등상 아니 디지털 Buddhist Resource Center 람니 다 난슈 가지고 렉처기 슝로 치고 마임베게 빨리기 슝로 용조 디난 수투에기 타다 콘조 셰베기레 시다 tinde간 로데게래 다 딜레체 토스직 다데 기시멜롬라기 아니 락베기 티샵에 익수도 수 컴퓨터 나노니아 땡두기 이기 수 주르투에기 다 OCRC야 된다 텐주게 아니 유에데바 단다 유에데발레 망부지기 책 토하기 레시직 기시멜롬라기 소샤이지요리아 가시기 단다 기시멜롬라기 동원 운제 나야기 레시즈소야 자나다 마이크로소프트 소샤베기 딜 빙스라브레 빙시아지도 텐조 맨로 삼산다 텐조 노래기 냥가치 회사래 텐조 노래 요마래 텐조 마이크로소프트 자나 슝구 소샤베기다 남중 아주 가게기 줄투에 내단치마도 지기 낭슈조 주베기 아니 베제팅 사원주 줄투에 내단주 탄다 요마래 디 탄다 데 타마 탐구차기 요래 텐조 주네 당아주 그 그수리 등상 그 추리 디게디 상초 그 배주당 거에 디게디 아주 누버템베 톤에 배주당 투에치 야 가시 artificial intelligence라니 쫌메 리지스라니 리뉴라비온도 삼발해야지야 미누벌 도보 쇼shum부터야 직된들이야지 뇌약이 내가지고 야 기시행에 망고치요래 저저장가 그 배주 로바치 당와이나 로와 단단 아주 내가 치야디 표백이 기다 난슈다 그게 슝루 다다지 냐투야 냐자치 투에 상부를 내가 지간이야 아니 주메릭지 배주 당치 내세 토부지를 내투야다 학벌도 현지소 도나 제투야다 뭐뭐 그주 제투야 아니 치미소 인바이네 다 단다 이기 주려다 아니 가수리 인지네 비인이 인지 주려 다는 신체니 흉마 미신기 벽에게 잡투야 진지기다 소야게 내세 소직 간주 삼로날 코르시그리데네 나레나 따투야데 카우샤기 요리도 기시멜롬라 다다 찰레나나 나시마레 텐줄라 간주 페미티즈웅네 튠제 자르기 자 칸투도 자르고야 되게 자르게 요리 아리 슝기 롬 난고야 되게 난되게 요리 디게디 간주 첩시기 레게기 차시 개청부지 집에네 문제고 요마레 삼산도시 가르스나 자얼음 칭행에만 지슈요 나 게마치도 소소인 백qabla 아니 간주 소간 사바디 갭체 군두 문제를 치주나무레 갑티두게 자얼음체 가나에 야 자얼음체기 가나에 지디 아니 나란수 표백이 기다 최다 리중 야자 치야딩 아주 표백 탑주기 겐침부지 차대요 다시니 가나에 디기다 차시 추직 아주 다른 루베기다 응고치 주구열에시니 디직슈에 되어 청소 아니 야 표백 지도 나로 디콜라 삼수도들이 요바이나 아니 제유수수술 카두카두 지와다나마이나 아니 지도 나로 조담 좀 모아체 디체체 가지다 배지 추리리 공공원에 인바이네 단답하도기 아주 직 표집을 펜트에 레시나노네 염슈체 야시슈직 차득이 요시니 디리직 다 표게 돈의 슈샤와이네 배지 아주 표배지절 ken과에 되게디 난도인 차단 추대요 삼산듯이 아니 동원 권당 아주 시에 계제 고급 요마를 기시면은 매워 수시샤 디지디 삼발라디 야 낭당디 닝조스타도 아주 시에 아니 I want to thank the USAID just recounting as to because people won't know what this project is all about. So as I was explaining about how did the grant come through last year's appropriation in the Congress that was passed in December, and this year the CR is still going on, so you still have to guess what amount is going to come this year. Every appropriations it takes time, and right now the speaker at least in place now in the house, so we'll have to wait for November 17th till the current year's budget is passed. But this budget was particularly passed last December, and Poonam, as the head of the USAID Delhi, took a very keen interest in giving shape to this project and to make sure that whatever money is being granted for this project is used judiciously for what it's meant for. And the futuristic attempt that we are going to do, as I was saying in Tibetan also, this morning, today would be a day that we can perhaps remember. Could be a watershed day, November 3rd, 2025, because we had the women empowerment meeting going on this morning. If it takes good shape, takes both men and women to lift the community or the world together. And then this project is also very, very important. And then evening's project is all the more important with Kyishong launching his AI translation.
It's also Kyishong's birthday today.
Yeah, so that's his birthday today, so we should wish him his birthday. So 3rd November is something that I would look at this date as possibly a watershed date that will steer the course of our future endeavor in the preservation of Tibetan language and Tibetan religion and Tibetan way of life through the efforts this project will undertake. I was also saying that people should not consider these two as two separate projects. It's just one project, but it's divided into two parts. One that needs to be handled by the Department of Religion and Culture, where they have already employed 4 people here, and I can see some of them already have experience in the field. And that is quite an encouragement to get the right people to do the right kind of job. And I was also told that 2 of you would be stationed here in Dharamshala, and at the first round of meeting held some months back, we were also told that some 15 Tibetans would be taken as apprenticeship in developing their skill in the work that you do, and you will help guide them. So this will also be very useful. And this also coincides at a time when Kyishong, who is already working on another project for the language and for both translation and spoken in artificial intelligence in Tibetan. We have reached a stage where these two could be well combined, and I was also told about the developments in the last 1-2 days where you were negotiating about the future sustainability of the project and the ownership of those materials. So our objective is definitely not only for the Tibetans to benefit from these documents, but for all of humanity to be able to access to the deep source of knowledge that we are proud to be a repository of, one part of ancient Indian wisdom, which is still very, very relevant in this world, particularly at this point of time when the world is ridden with violence. And when I was speaking to the National Press Club in the United States also, I mentioned the fact that there's too much focus on violence. Wherever there's violence, governments go, media go, they cover, and there's very little focus on non-violence. And when there's too much focus on violence, it's more like you are promoting violence. So we should, I think, learn to look at resolving conflicts through other lenses, particularly non-violent efforts. And the text that we have has the potential of doing all that. And not just looking at the present stage, but taking it a level up, looking at 5, 10, 15 years down the line as to what kind of development could take place in the field of technology and how we can keep up with those and make sure that the teachings of His Holiness, the depth and value of His Holiness teachings are maintained in perpetuity till the end of this world. And if Melam manages to reach the level that he's thinking about, then you can ask any question to His Holiness in the future on any given topic. And even though at a very late stage also, people around this world will still have access to His Holiness wisdom. That is the objective. And we started very propitiously this morning with all the team from the Department of Religion and Culture and Poonam and Wadhwani Group, Kishimelamla. You had audience with His Holiness and sought blessing for the success of this project. And as Central Tibetan Administration, in every step of the way, we'll be there with you, even though we lack the expertise. We know what computers can do. And if you give in the right input and work cooperatively, then I'm sure the money that would be invested from American taxpayers would be judiciously used for what it's meant for. And this could also set an example for many other communities whose languages and culture are in peril. Could be an example for others to look at the Tibetan example and see how their threatened languages can also be preserved. This will also have, I think, multiple effects on Bhutanese language, which is very close to Tibetan, and also with Ladakhi. So any other Bhuti language, whatever they call in the Himalayan belt, and the sphere of Tibetan language influence was also quite high, not just in Tibet, but also in Mongolia and Kalmykia, Buryat, Tuva, and all that. And now, these days, you have a lot more followers and disciples of His Holiness coming from different parts of the world. And this material should, I think, also be very useful for researchers as well in future, even scientific researchers in mind science. So thank you very much for the effort. Thank you very much for coming again, the Wadhwani Group, and I really look forward to a cooperative and successful, productive relationship with Kishimelam and the Religion and Culture Department. And I put a lot of trust in the four of you who are recruited now. We need more people, but we'll find, hopefully, right people at the right time. So a lot will depend on your efforts in getting a catalog of all the things that we need to scan, the remaining amount of work, and compare it with whatever has already been done. I think BDRC is very much on board, and Kishimelam is also working with many other institutions. They are potential partners in future where you can get more resources so that we can pool all the available materials on one platform and make it available for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sikyong, for that inspirational talk. I'll request Dr. Poonam to kindly say a few words.
So, I was just thinking and actually looking at this room, right? And it's beautiful. You see the culture right there in terms of just everything that talks Tibetan to me, right? And before I got engaged with this program, I've come to India many times, come to Dharamshala, and always felt this Tibetan presence all over, and had taken it for granted. It existed, it's beautiful, and we would say, oh, you need to go to that Tibetan monastery, it's gorgeous. But again, the fact is, didn't know enough about the complexity of keeping it alive. And now that I've been actively engaged in this process, these programs, and the Tibetan community, I recognize the great, great role His Holiness played in making sure, at least right now we are 60 years, and yet the beauty of the Tibetan culture is everywhere, which is a remarkable feat. If you go to any other places, how many of folks, Indians, go to the US, and you don't see them speaking, especially the next generation. There's no way they speak the language. They've lost a lot of the culture. Fine, they've amalgamated, that's fine. But to me, it is a contrast, right? Over here, you've got that culture which is very alive. The language is still alive. And people are not only speaking it, the written part is, very much there. But there were if we don't deal with some of the challenges, can it be the same for the next many years? And that was what we were kind of struggling with initially. What is important? And absolutely, the language and preservation of what we have here is being like our first concern, because the other thing we had done a lot is go to various libraries. Every settlement we would go, every monastery we would go, there would be these old manuscripts, and people would be showing us how well they've digitized it. And we realized people were using really ancient hardware, which would not have helped digitize it correctly. One was that. But the second was the percentage of those documents which were digitized. Very little. And if we continued in that fashion, for years, we would not be able to do something like that if we didn't intensify our efforts. And the last thing which I saw there was these beautiful old manuscripts, which, we were being shown with great, pride. But they were old, and we were opening them each time. And each time you do that, there's a little loss in some ways, right? So all these ideas came about because we were talking to the community, we were talking to people who dealt with these kind of concerns. And so over the last year, we kind of defined how we wanted to do it. We realized you can get any technical company in the world, but unless you understand the culture and that linkage is there, the success won't be there. So that's how we started working on getting a unique combination in both CTA and a technical expert working together for the final product. So that was our rationale for doing it. It's not going to be easy, because working together as teams it comes with its own challenges. But what has been very impressive, even the 2-3 months back when we came here for the co-creation, was the amount of discussion which was free of turf issues, but more about the excitement of what we are going to get out of it. Everybody was talking about getting something from, very useful at the end. And that level of enthusiastic collaboration is generally very difficult for us to see. So it has been a pleasure to see that kind of discussion. We are very happy that we were able to also get Geshe Munlam to come with us, because he is a source of inspiration in terms of what he's already achieved. And if with his expertise and his knowledge of the Tibetan community, we can go far. So thank you and happy birthday. And we are delighted with this project, and we want to continue going forward. We are there to facilitate any challenges which come, to address them. And you've got, as you can see, the Sikyong is behind this fully. So you've got a lot of commitment and support from a lot of people. And, let's use that opportunity now to really get something together. And yes, the 4 new people, maybe a few more also may come in. We need you to look at this and say, this is it for my community. This will help and be something which is very futuristic, because we've been talking about those teachings, how do we use AI to promote without His Holiness ever going out of this place. So that's an end product which would be just fantastic if we could get something like that. And lastly is our own challenges are very small compared to the challenges we are currently facing geopolitically for this community. And therefore, if the cultural loss continues the way it is being proposed back in the occupied Tibet region, we have a real duty to make sure whatever we have here is preserved and conserved and shared across the world so that we can keep growing it. There's a lot more around. We don't even know actually how many more manuscripts there are within India and Nepal. We don't know yet, because I've been told there are lots of them are with individuals also. And to kind of get to that end, it's still going to take a lot of work, one of the big challenges, but I think we're on the right path. And we'll continue to ensure that this continues, this particular activity has a very successful ending. I'm looking forward to seeing the teachings when I go back in DC. From there, I can open it up and say, I am concerned about this, and I can be blessed by His Holiness from afar. So, thank you, and good luck.
Thank you so much for your kind and encouraging words, Poonamji. With this, I'd like to conclude this event with a brief thank you note. Firstly, I thank the Honorable Sikyong for his visionary and wise leadership for such forward-looking projects to actually happen within the CTA for the benefit of just not the Tibetan community, but then the world at large. Also thank USAID and Dr. Poonam Smith Sreen for their constant support in helping the CTA and the Tibetan community sustain in exile as long as we go back to Tibet. Thank the Secretary and the Department of Religion and Culture for the number of work that has been done in the background. Small cases like organizing this event, to the co-creation, to all of the research that they have done. Thank you so much, Madam Secretary and the colleagues. Of course, thanking Wadhwani AI and Melam AI being great partners to this project, and hopefully in the future get more of this technology and leverage them to preserve, just not preserve, but then promote the Tibetan culture as well. Also want to thank colleagues from SAD for your support in program management expertise. And at the end, most importantly, the most important partners here, present here, are people from the media. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you will help us get our words out from this small room to the larger audience that we hope this message goes out to. With that, thank you so much for being here. I conclude this event here, and also like to end that we have refreshments served outside. Please do help yourselves. Thank you so much.